Want to hear how my brother cut my toes off? Yeah, cut them off completely. Well, dangling. Want to hear about it? Stick around. I hear a bunch of stories and stuff, like, you know, about kids growing up and us growing up back in our day, millennials and stuff, right when it was good before technology completely took over. And then my son also makes me think of how good he has it in life. So I grew up with an older brother. That's all I had. His name was Rhythm. My mom was pretty much a single mom. Long story on that. Had a stepdad, but it wasn't great. Bad situation. Anyways, so I hung out with my brother. He was all I knew, and him and his friends, so I hung out with them all the time. Let's fast forward to when I'm 16, he's 17. He decided to get a 7-foot-long, huge mirror. Hey, man. And no, y'all, it didn't click in my innocent head why he was trying to actually hang the mirror on the ceiling. I just thought he was being weird. 7-foot-long, huge mirror to hang on a ceiling. I was 16, okay? I was still playing with horses and stuff, all right? I was very innocent. I was still playing with all my little briars. So, it's about midnight. I'm going into the kitchen to get a snack. What do I see my brother doing? Trying to hang this big mirror on the ceiling. I'm like, oh, I gotta watch this, because this is not gonna end well. Never does if you know my brother. So my brother had a dresser that was just kind of sitting in the middle of the room. It wasn't fully up against the wall, and then his bed was in the middle of the room. And he's standing there on a step stool trying to hang this mirror up. He has screws and a hammer, all right? This ain't gonna go well, as y'all already know. Well, I'm sitting on the dresser. I'm short, so my feet dangle, so I'm just sitting like this. And I'm telling my brother that this is not gonna work out and that it's not gonna end the way he thinks it is, you know? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna hammer and angle it in. I'm not going directly in the glass. I'm like, all right. So pretty much with my pretend popcorn, I'm just sitting there with my legs swinging, watching him about to hang this mirror up. First swing, it shatters. And I'm like, oh shit. He dives over me and jumps over the dresser. Me being on the dresser, I kicked back with my friggin' feet out. And then when the glass all hit the ground, me and him were just looking at each other like, oh shit, did we just wake up our mom? Like, so after we realized we didn't wake her up and we're safe, we're like, oh, maybe we should look each other up and down to make sure we didn't cut or kill each other, you know? Obviously we didn't kill each other, we were looking at each other. So I'm looking him up and down. I'm like, hey, Rhythm, you're good. You ain't got nothing cut off. And then when I'm looking at my brother's face, all I see is him just staring down, completely just, ah! And I'm like, what, you know? Look down, both my toes have been cut off and are dangling on, and my foot's just pouring blood everywhere. And I'm just like, ah! Go and get mama, yelling at my brother to go get her mom. And he jumps off the dresser and runs in there like it's an emergency. But then right when he gets to her bed, this is how scared of our mom we were. Right when he got to her bed, he was like, hey, just lightly touching her. Hey, mama. And my mom took medicine that knocked her out. So she had no clue that he was sitting there trying to wake her until her fiance was like, hey, your son's trying to wake you. And my mom is like, what? And he's like, we may need to take Rhyme to the hospital. And before it could even register on what my brother just said to her, she hears me just screaming in the background because my toes are barely dangling on. Like, what the fuck? I'm going to lose my toes, have a little retarded gimp foot. At 16, like, come on. So they rush me to the hospital or whatever. They wrap it in a cloth. Not a smart thing to do. My brother's cracking jokes the whole way there. I'm like, this is not funny, you know? Like, I'm not laughing. He thought it was hysterical the whole time. They put over 12 shots in my poor little foot. And while they're doing this, like I said, my brother is cracking jokes. He thinks he is a comedian. First joke he tells is we're going to start calling you Scar Toes instead of Scarface. I was like, ooh, ha ha ha, real funny. And then he said the one to top it all. He was like, we shouldn't have called an ambulance, we should have called a tow truck. At the time I was not laughing, but now, yeah, it was funny, but not at that time. It was not funny. And yeah, so that's just one story of me and my brother and the crazy antics and shit we got into. I can tell you about the story of me taking and shooting his eye out. It wasn't on purpose, but kind of was, but kind of wasn't, you know, just